Okay. Live stream 65. I still haven't fixed my Nightbot, but let me just throw up another overclock here first and do another run. So this is the GTX 770 classified. Okay, let's see, what can we do? Let's try plus 200. Probably gonna fail, but yeah, 1420 is getting up there, but so how is everyone doing? You still benching? Or benching more than ever, maybe, under these conditions? Okay, so obviously the rig command is broken, or well, not up to date. So today we are on the big platform, so Skylake X, so 7900X, 10 core, and the Apex 4, and some B-Die, Flare X, B-Die, and I'm gonna bench. What am I gonna bench? Fire Strike Ultra, Time Spy, maybe some superposition. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why black screen's late in the first test. I think I'm on the edge for GPU memory. But it's still passing, which is interesting. I think one of my cameras just slipped a bit. Oh, too much. That's probably acceptable, if you can even see that. So how's everyone doing? I have a massive, don't know how I can show this, massive box of roast almonds here. I think that was the extent of my panic buying, was too many almonds. So I've got to dig into those. I think it's just on the edge from memory, which is a shame. Because it's only at 2017 memory or so. Physics and stuff I haven't really pushed that much yet. Maybe I'll do that next. Hey, 00. You're Eastern Standard Time, aren't you? So just rolling out of bed. So I'm kind of happy I have this platform running, because it's weird. My boards and you've been up for hours. Just used to it from work or something. Paperwork. Hopefully it's not whatever it's called, job starter, or whatever that new scheme is. Yeah, I'm up since 7. But so today is whatever it's called, Easter Saturday in Australia, and yesterday was Good Friday, and where I grew up in Ireland, Good Friday isn't a holiday, but yeah, so that passed. But here it is. So I'm slowly getting used to not working and sleeping in a bit. I woke up at 6 a.m. yesterday and 7 a.m. today. Maybe it's going to be 8 a.m. tomorrow. Who knows? Oh, insurance forms. Hopefully nothing too serious. So that's a 2236. I didn't note down. So that's a plus 200 and 2017 man. What's the GTs? Ooh, 21, 20, 26 GTs. I won't push the. Yeah, it's a funny one. It's okay. Let me just start a new run and then I'll talk about it a bit more. Let's do like 25 megahertz steps. Okay, so there's a few different aspects to Good Friday in Ireland. So yes, Ireland traditionally was a very Catholic country, but it has certainly since I've left it has transformed in a way. It's past gay marriage is one of the earliest places in the world. Kind of um, we have a gay prime minister at the moment as well. So it's really transformed a lot. But that has to do with as well. Oh, my volume seems a bit low. Can I boost it? No. Maybe I can. See that artifacting. Anyway, so good. So yeah, in general, Ireland is quite religious or has been quite religious, but it's changing in recent times. And even so, Good Friday was never a holiday. And I think actually, paradoxically, the reason it's never been a holiday is because Ireland is so religious, because they consider Good Friday to be sort of the saddest day in the calendar kind of thing. Um, so they didn't want to sort of celebrate it by making it a holiday. But I was actually just talking to my family in Ireland yesterday, and they were just talking about how it's a debate every single year whether or not Good Friday should be made into a holiday. Yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's this never-ending thing. Pubs close. It's this really weird thing where you're not supposed to drink alcohol on Good Friday, so it's actually illegal for restaurants to serve alcohol on Good Friday. So a lot of them close and pubs close. But then there is an overarching European law to say that something along the lines of no traveler should ever be denied service, and it's interpreted as meaning also alcohol. So then what happens is, if you're checked into a hotel, the hotel bar opens only for people who are checked in, because it would be illegal for Ireland not to allow service to travelers. So it's a complicated subject, and it's the same on the trains. Actually, there's some trains in Ireland that have that serve alcohol. So if you're an alcoholic in Ireland, a lot of them. I mean, this is sad, but a lot of them will actually check into a hotel or travel back and forth on a train in order to get alcohol. Hi, White Shark. Good to see you. How are you doing? Haven't talked in a while. Hopefully, you're all safe and healthy. Waiters freaking out because they get a day off. um, yeah, so it's funny. And then there was a court case a couple of years ago of a restaurant um, serving wine with a meal, and somebody dubbed them in for whatever reason, and the um, judge actually decided to throw it out, saying yes, this is technically illegal, but I don't see the sense in it, and he decided to acquit them basically. So much going on. Yeah, I'm fine. White Shark. Australia is. I feel like, I mean, purely looking at numbers, is doing much better than Germany, and even Germany. I mean, I have friends and family over there. Germany is doing much better than France and Spain and the UK and the US and Italy. So I mean, there's a huge difference. Australia is doing so much better than Germany, but even Germany, I would say, hopefully, I mean, hopefully your area is fine, but I would consider to be doing well as well. So just working from home is getting a bit old, but I mean, I'm lucky. Oh, that went down. That went down for some reason. GTs went up and physics went down. Okay, so GTs are still scaling. That's fine. So that's plus 225. And it's a 2150 GTs. I might just do GT only runs. what's the point in a full run? I haven't really tuned the rest of the system, so and yeah, so this card did like 1568 or something in 3D Mark 03, but on quite high vGPU. I don't want to go that high, so I'm at 1.35 at the moment, which is safe, but I went to 1.5, I think, which is just crazy in terms of, I mean, it's a classified card, so the VRM is fine, even bare with just airflow, but just in terms of keeping the core happy. Hey, Keep, welcome back. Thanks for joining. So it's 3D today. So that applied, and let's run GTs only. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Let me quickly have another look at that. Okay, I've added 10 dBs of gain. Maybe that's enough. Let me know. I can add more. No challengers for me. Okay, so why? I mean, I don't. It doesn't seem like I have access to LN2 at the moment. I can double check, but I really don't think it's possible for me to get LN2. Okay, cool. Thanks for the feedback. I've never really done challengers. I mean, this is like an old gripe, like an old pet peeve, an old like issue I have with HardwareBot where, okay, that failed. Let's give it a little bit more VCore. 1.375. Oops, no, that I didn't want that. Hopefully that still applied. Okay, VDDC, yeah, here we go. It's starting to bug out though. So challengers, the last time, actually, this is an interesting whole like thing about HardwareBot is you can actually look at the archive of competitions. So let's have a look. So if you go into overview and then go to the archive button, I only found this out recently, you'll actually find all of the winners of all of the comps, you know, I don't know back how long, but yeah, until basically the beginning of a HardwareBot. So you'll see that I won one challenger in February of 2018. And that was like a Ryzen 5 challenge, if I remember right. So yeah, there was CPU Z frequency, and it was actually first gen. So that's when I played took part in challengers, because at the time, challenger points contributed to your like career ranking essentially. But now they don't anymore. Now they just contribute to your seasonal ranking. So there was GPU Pi. You can't see it. Yeah, there was an 01 stage. That's interesting. I don't remember benching that. What did I even bench for that stage? Oh, 780 Ti. Okay. On air. Okay. Yeah. So no. I mean, I don't, it's not like I'm fundamentally opposed to challengers, but I just don't see the point when there's no prizes. Again, I'm not a big prize person either, but no prizes and no ranking. Like, okay, there's the seasonal ranking, but I just don't have any interest in that. So what I'm doing a lot of now is I am doing binning. So I never really put any time into air binning, but now that I don't have access to LN2, I've done stuff like I've binned 3 3570Ks. I've been 3 Ryzen 5 1400s, and I'm just selling stuff. I'm getting ready to sell some stuff. I'm hoping to bin my 5 GTX 980s as well. Okay, so that passed. Just make sure. I'm just gonna make sure that the score is still going up, because you know sometimes cards. Yeah, the score is still going up. Cards kind of get unstable. How about you, Hayden? Are you doing challengers? So okay, let's see if we can get 1500 going. That's actually going to be quite tough. Because this is obviously a little bit of a heavier bench than 03 typically. Oh, Mythical is here. Hey, what are you up to? What are you benching? Are you still on 775? Oh, what's the card? Oh, sorry. Okay. The reason it's missing from the Nightbot is because the previous bench, the previous stream I did was a 2D bench, obviously. So let's put that in first. Actually, it is a GTX 770 classified. Okay. There we go. So there's a bit of a story behind this setup, right? So basically both the board and the card have come back from the dead. Okay, maybe need to just drop the GPU memory actually. Where are we? Drop it down to a flat 2000. I might just do a full run now because I keep getting interrupted. I want to keep up with chat and stuff. Okay, flat 2000 and full run. Okay, so first the card. So I took maybe I can just quickly show you the ranking. The ranking is actually bugged, and that's one of the issues I have with the current system of not being able to delete your own scores. You can see here, I'm not too bothered about it, but you can see that my 163K score is currently being shown as being third, but it has 0 points. So the ranking is correct in the sense that I'm getting the correct number of points for my 165K score, but then for some reason the 163K score is being shown above it with 0 points. So ideally I'd like to just disable, like just delete this sub, but I can't because now due to the seasonal crap, we can't delete scores anymore after like 24 hours or something. Okay, failed run. Let me just bump up the vCore a little bit. And sometimes it doesn't apply with a classified controller, so I like to look into the sensor tab. Yeah, so we're at 1.4 with droop. Yeah, you can ask for deletion, but it's such a minor thing. Maybe I mean I plan to rebench 03 anyway, and if I sub another score, either the other one will recalculate properly, or then I'll have two things to delete, and I can say, hey, I now have 3 scores in the rankings for no fucking reason except a hardware bot bug. So this is what I was benching a lot on Chiller at 5.6 gigahertz on a 7640X, and this score, believe it or not, was first at one point. It was like 45 points, but since then there's obviously been 1, 2, 3, 4 better scores. And the interesting thing is that Doc Brown is actually, you can see, you know, there's quite a 3K gap there, and Pirat I think is at 6 gigahertz and Doc Brown only at 5.6 or 5.7, but Doc Brown is on XP, so I'll have to look at maybe running XP, but everything is ambient CPU except Pirat, I think, is on the single stage or something. So I want to rebench. I want to retake first because it's 48 points. It's pretty nice. So I might do that frozen CPU and GPU on chiller, or maybe even LN2 on both. But when I was benching this, I was benching 03 for I was trying to beat, was it White? It was Rave actually, who has a really nice efficient score there. The card actually, what I was doing was, I can maybe show you this score because there's a rig pick attached. Oof, failed run. Okay, we can bump a little bit more. I think 1.45 will have to be the end of it. I'm just hoping for a pass, you know? Because it's 4 subtests. Okay, that applied. Okay, so this was first at one point. And you can see this was actually in a previous apartment. I had the full, chiller all the way down. I don't know to what temperature. Maybe the screenshot will tell me. No, it's not there, but so this gives me a good starting point because it shows me how much vCore I ran. It obviously shows everything, including GPU memory, which is at 2000. But here I was really pushing hard. I went to 1.5 vCore and stuff, and the cards stopped posting, or either it stopped posting or it stopped outputting video. I can't remember which. So I actually considered this card dead for a while. Even though there's lots of juicy points in the rankings for this card, I just put away the card for a while because it seemed to be dead. But I really wanted to revisit it because obviously, I want to take back my gold, with LN2. And now just yesterday, I just popped the card into a system again and it worked again. So that's why I'm saying it's back from the dead. The board is also kind of back from the dead. It's interesting. It had a few bent pins and things. It just sort of, I don't know, it just seemed like it wouldn't post Skylake X anymore. Like at the time I had a 7820X, and I know that these boards that support KB and Sky, it takes a couple of boot cycles, post cycles, for them to switch to like the other microcode or the other way of operating, whatever. So it's not unusual for a board to throw 0-0 for a little while if the last chip in it was KBX and you put in a SkyX chip, but it was just throwing flat 0-0. And I just I mean the pins are still not fully bent back to what they were, so I just assumed that the bent pins were the ones that were, since the socket is so big, 2066 pins, and some pins are KB and Sky shared and others are Sky only. I assumed that the bent pins were Skylake X, and I wouldn't easily be able to get the board working anymore for Skylake X. And then I sold my 7820X. I'd run it cold anyway. 9900Ks were coming out. I wanted to sell it while it was still worth money, so I didn't have a SkyX chip to check with anymore. And I actually got an X299 OCF basically for the purpose of running Skylake X. And the sort of ironic thing is that now has bent pins and it drops a channel, which is really annoying. But so I thought it was my 7900X, which I bought in the meantime. A combined test fail, or was that just a complete? Yeah, it was a complete. So yeah, I thought it was the chip, so I RMA'd the chip. I ran it for W prime on cold, and it wasn't that great anyway, so I RMA'd the chip. But actually, the new chip had the same issue on the OCF. So I threw it into the Apex, just thinking it was a complete Hail Mary. and it actually posted with all channels. I mean, reliably. I mean, there's a stick order, but it's very reliably quad channel now. So this is basically also a revive of the board. Okay, so that's a 2194 GTs. What am I even running? Plus 275. Can I push more? It's probably time for a bit of a CPU overclock, eh? Okay, that's enough story time for a second. I'm gonna just start a new run and then catch up with chat and stuff. Okay, so we're at 4.5. Come on, Turbo V. Where art thou? Hello. Well, the service has started. Really doesn't want to start, does it? Okay, then let's do one more run with a little bit more core. Although I sort of doubt that it's gonna actually pass. And then we can do a reboot and maybe a time spy run as well before we get too creative. Okay, so yeah, so this is a classified card. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with it. It does have triple bias, which is really nice. But I still only get plus 10% power target on all biases. I haven't really investigated. You know, sometimes in NVIDIA cards, the slider stays the same, but a certain bias will just, you know, like have your actual reported power and stuff. So plus 10% in every bias doesn't necessarily mean that the power limit is exactly the same in all biases. Okay, so Mythical, your good Rex died. No offense, Mythical, but that's probably because you were running what 1.8 V and B on on like yeah on ambient. Okay, let's just throw in one time spy run. Just regular time spy, no demo. The South Bridge died. How would that happen? Okay. I mean, you guys know me. In terms of AMD, I really love the old AMD stuff. I love all the full pot stuff. I love first and second gen Ryzen. Oh, thanks for the sub, keep Hayden. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you. Oh, there's actually. Hold on, is the chat box? I thought the chat box was working here. No, it is. Okay. Just seemed a bit slow. So Z490 leaks. It's obviously completely ridiculous that we're once again going to a new socket. You know, back in the day, you used to get 2 microarchitectures out of every socket. Now we've gotten 1 microarchitecture that lasted 4 years out of 1 socket, but then just a physical socket, you know. No compatibility or no official compatibility between 1151 and 1151 version 2. So yeah, kind of disappointing there, but I am cautiously optimistic that this LGA 1200 that they're coming out with will survive quite a bit of, like, you get a lot of use out of it, I think. X299. That's just because there's no new microarchitectures again. So Z490, I would assume, will be the last DDR4 mainstream socket for Intel. I have a few thoughts about it. I think board manufacturers, I'm disappointed in Asus, for example, for not supporting 4-way GPUs anymore. So, and of course, the GPU manufacturers as well for not supporting anymore. They kind of did that at the same time. It must have been sort of almost coordinated in a way. So that's why I like having my Apex 6 around and my OCF, even though it's dropping channels, and my Apex 10, because those apparently are going to be the last 4-way boards. And obviously the 1080 Ti tier of card will be the last 4-way card. And on the AMD side, I guess 290X and RX 580 or 590, I suppose, which is a little bit faster on the newer process. But the new platform, yeah, for 3D, it's a little bit of a shame. I still don't really believe the leaks that say that there's not going to be XP support. They said that about Haswell. They said that about Skylake. They said that about Coffee Lake and Kaby Lake. I'll believe it when I see it. I think that XP support is something that people like, manufacturers like Asus can easily just knock out, so it's a known thing. It's just, just release one XOC bias, say it's unsupported, it does, voids your warranty or whatever. People say the same thing about Ryzen, and there's now ways of doing Ryzen support. Some guy even subbed a really good 3D score on Ryzen on XP, so I believe it when I see it. They did that whole song and dance of where the Apex 10 and Apex 10 came out without XP support, and then eventually later it got XP support. Apex 11 and Gene 11 came out without XP support, and then people hacked it in. So no, I don't believe all that. But in terms of let me just do another run. Let me actually just save this run. TimeSpy needs the save file, doesn't it? So we're at 3008. And what do we want? We want just the basics, GPU-Z and 2 CPU-Zs. It might do higher mem than FSU. It wouldn't surprise me. Okay. This is legal, isn't it? All right. Up we go. So 1515 passed. Yeah, TimeSpy can be a bit lighter than other benches. This doesn't surprise me at all. 25. This is really pushing it, but again, it wouldn't surprise me if it passes. So in terms of the actual chips, so the thing is, people say Intel has stagnated a lot, and obviously there's some truth to that. But I think I don't want to call it innovation, but they have progressed enough that their chips are still, it's not a bulldozer versus a Haswell kind of situation, It's not like that. It's Intel, there's still a place for Intel chips, you know, it's still the highest single threaded performance and stuff. And I think there'll be modest IPC gains. There's been talk of a better IHS um, to manage the heat. And, there has been progress. We've gone from, Skylake was 4 core, 8 threads. Well, let's start with KV. KV was 4 core, 8 threads, and then i5s already were only 4 core, 4 threads. Now, apparently, according to the leaks, we're going to have i9s are 10 cores with hyperthreading. i7s are 8 cores with hyperthreading. i5s are 6 cores with hyperthreading. And i3s are 4 cores with hyperthreading. So I think that's a competitive lineup. I think, obviously, for content creators and stuff, yes, AMD is definitely the way to go. But in terms of benching, 10 core on a mainstream full pot platform is going to kick ass in just about everything. Yeah, multi CCX. It is a challenge. So I look forward to the release. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. It does seem a bit dead endy, being 14 nanometer and stuff, but we'll see. If the 6 cores beat the 8700K and the 8086K in benching scenarios, then I'd be very tempted. Okay, that's a fail. Is it a hard fail? No. Let's give it a little bit more VCore. That was a GT1 fail, wasn't it? I should include the VCore in my screenshots from now on. 1.4, let's go 1.425. Yeah, so there's obviously going to be the memes with thermal performance and stuff, and performance per watt will be just horrible. No, it's the actual program. Performance per watt will be bad, but this Intel stuff will be popular enough. There's enough. What's the term again? Mind share or whatever. And 10 I know it's a meme as well, but 10 nanometer is coming. There's enough sort of memes and things, leaks and things to say that 10 nanometer is coming to the desktop. Ryzen 3rd gen, I'm just not attracted to it from a benching perspective because it's hard to bench. It's got those cold bug issues, and if you want 12 core and 16 core globals, but the real globals are 1 core to up to about 8 core. That's where the real globals are, because there's so many submissions that you can be 50th in the world and still get a good shot at globals. Whereas those core counts that are a bit rare, like 12 core, 16 core, 10 core right now, 14 core, whatever, 20 core, unless you're first or second in the world, you don't get any globals anyway. So yeah, no, yeah, the moderators are really looking to stick with CPU-Z as their validation program. And to be honest, if anything, we're going in the wrong direction where people think that Benchmade somehow is going to replace everything. I really hope that doesn't happen, because that's a single point of failure. A single person maintaining a single program that helps us with everything. I don't know. It's just not. Okay, let's have a look at this Time Spy rankings. Oh, another fail. Oh. So these are the rankings. Obviously, Afram on the chiller is going to be tough to catch. I wonder if he has his actual V core on somewhere on this screenshot at 1.5. Yeah, I mean, the last time I went to 1.5, the card stopped posting. So I don't know. I'll have to watch my thermals, but that's a possibility. But it's also on a 12 core, so 12 core at 4.9. So that's unrealistic. But let's see if we can get approach second. I think that's realistic. Okay, so here's Nice Gab. He's on a 6 core, so that's a bit easier to catch. Okay, I'll keep that open. What else is new? Yeah, so I'm hoping to get a stream, consistently get a stream a week out during these uncertain times. Yeah, LN2, like I said, not looking great at the moment. So I live in a residential area, and there's a bigger police presence at the moment. So if I were to get my LN2, the thing is I have to kind of get my LN2 delivered in this loading bay on a semi main road in my sort of suburb, and police pass there all the time, even early in the morning. So I don't think delivery is an option. I have sort of considered pickup. My LN2 source is probably about an hour's drive away, but then again, that's kind of flaunting the rule. You know, that's not within the rules either, because I'm really only supposed to be using my car to go to the shop or care for elderly and stuff like that. So it doesn't look like that's gonna happen. Okay, this might be a pass. I'm not even seeing any. There's a bit of flickering, but I need a single stage. I have a single stage, but it needs a regas. So yeah, I borrowed a single stage from someone, but the person hadn't checked how good the single stage was recently. He hadn't. There's no probe actually embedded in the head, but obviously there's other ways of checking what temps you're getting up to. So what I did was I attached the single stage to my RAM, and then had a probe really close to the head, basically on the PCB, but really close to the head. And I was seeing that it was struggling to maintain -20 with like a low heat load, which, you know, RAM is a really low heat load, almost non-existent. So it needs a regas, but it's not my SS, so I sort of have to like first kind of figure out whether I want to cover the expense of regassing it myself, and then also ask permission of the person who owns it. So yeah, not in my plans. I'm happy with my chiller. It lets me do lots of things. Okay, so here is our voltage. Okay, let's see if we can push the memory a bit. Even 50 megahertz shouldn't. Oops. I think that just jumped 100, didn't it? Okay, let's see if we can do that. It really helps a lot in the more modern benches. I mean, it seems like this card has a decent core. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to take 03 on ambient when I did in 2018, which sounds such a long time ago. But the memory, I'm not sure about. It is SAMI. I have to investigate if there's some sort of timing straps, because there's people who are able to pass benches at 2200. So that's quite a big difference. $60, yeah, but everything's more expensive in Australia. I don't want to regas it myself. No way. Okay, that's pretty much an insta fail. So this OS is I just built this yesterday. It's a 1909, and later on in the stream I might try and compare to 1607. So I have LTSB, you know, an enterprise build of 1607, which I use for some stuff where Windows 10 is required, but actually all the new patches aren't required. And I was interesting to note for some 3D guys in here that if you go for a really old version of Win 10, you actually are not able to install the latest drivers. So I think NVIDIA at the moment are at 445.x. But the newest driver that I could find on my USB that actually didn't error at the installation phase was 417.x. So would be interesting. Like SAMI DDR5 probably scales with RAM voltage, so I don't have any RAM voltage control that I can see. I mean, this is ridiculous. And in the FB VDD is RAM, isn't it? Let's try that. Let's go to 1.7. Okay, cool. I have no way of actually I can quickly hook up a multimeter. I don't have that weird that was no audio. Okay, this bracket up here next to the LEDs, I should buy a cheap one from eBay, because right now I have to just attach the multimeter directly. is a good ground here? Yeah, okay. It's reading 1.715. So that's applying. All right. But it didn't help. Okay. Just for shits and giggles, 1.8. I at least want to see like a GT1 pass. I know GT2 is worse on the RAM. It's harder on the RAM. But if that 200 millivolts I just added doesn't even translate into a GT1 pass, then obviously it's just a waste of time. So yeah, I didn't really have. I mean, I had old. I have Win 10 images for my Apex 10, but not for this board. So I decided to build a 1909, which I've heard is slower than 1903 and 1803 and stuff. But I wanted like the biggest. Yeah, that's another. Oh, maybe it's gonna fail. It's not. It's still the frames are still ticking. Now they're not. Okay. Let's go back to stock. Oop. Okay, back to 1.45 of the core. And let's just tick down slowly. Adaptive clocking off. Oh. Weird. I think vCore is just not applied or something because it's struggling to set those clocks now. Let's take this opportunity to reboot because I at least want Turbo V to start, which is probably going to be solved by a reboot. So yeah, I was going to compare the 1607 Windows 10 and the 1909 Windows 10 for TimeSpy at least. And then the next comparison I really need to make is Win 7 versus Win 10 for Firestrike. Okay, do we have a working Turbo V? Woohoo! Fancy shit. Okay, adaptive clocking off. Apply vCore first. I'll just keep Turbo V open. I don't want it to bug out again. And 1.45. That applied, and now just GPU clocks. Oh, I think I know what's wrong. I think the core voltage control is actually resetting the vCore. Okay. And you tell me if you want to, after TimeSpy, want to see more Firestrike Ultra or superposition. So White Shark, what are you benching? I haven't really seen you sub much stuff. You don't have an SS, do you? I think you just have H2O and dice. Are you still able to get dice in these uncertain times? Okay. So have you been motivated to bench recently? No dice. I don't know what the winky face is about. I mean, I know you've done LN2 occasionally. Why would reducing clocks actually make things worse? That seems a bit dumb, but okay, let's just keep reducing until we're at some sort of happy medium, although we're nearly there. I think it just no matter what the bench, it just seems to wall at this sort of 2015 sort of mark. Okay, what size Dura do you have? Oh, hey, Dagunzi. Oh, hi, Twopic. Haven't seen you on the stream before, but welcome. Hope you're having fun. Ask any questions you want. $50 is yeah. This room is in the first floor. What's going on? Okay, do we still have VCore applied? We do. Okay, we're gonna have to settle on 2000. 2970s. Are they Strixes? Are you using your EVC for that, or what are you doing? So 50-liter Dewars, I have a couple of 35-liter Dewars, a 20, and a 10. I think that's it, just 4 Dewars. I like the small Dewars because sometimes you can pick them up for really cheap. Like I paid about, in euro, I paid about €30 for my 10-liter Dewar, which is amazing. I like the 35s because obviously they hold really well and you can get a couple of sessions out of them. I mean, at bench meets, I've attempted lifting 50-liter Dewars and stuff, and it just seems like a way of screwing up your back. But if that's all, if you got a good deal, then you know you can't really complain there. Okay, I'm just gonna keep on. I'm already seeing a little bit of artifacting there, but I'm just gonna find the absolute max for core, and then obviously up the CPU clocks and stuff. This is what we're aiming for. 3110. Funny thing is, even for LN2, you don't really go above these voltages on the 770. Apparently, the classified is a real bitch to clock on LN2, though, or at least the copy that Snipe, whose was it? I don't know. Somebody had at Country Cup. It died. It clocked really well, but then it died. So I think in the end, Team Australia's submission was a lightning. Yeah, memory clock is just really hurting me. Does anyone know if this architecture has straps? Because on 290X, for example, you can find kind of like memory clock holes because there's straps. So if you kind of try to clock 1 megahertz below a certain timing strap, it'll be tougher to pass than 1 megahertz above. It'll probably score better, but it'll be tougher to pass. And I just wonder whether maybe I need to look into bias editing or something to loosen up the straps a bit, or the timings a bit, because I think mem megahertz is pretty much king for these kind of benches, typically. I mean, especially mem size is pretty small and stuff. I like to at least find them out, like open up the bias in a bias editor to read out the straps. So you have 3 Hall of Fame 970s. Nice. Okay, so in terms of GTs, we're still behind, so we need to push the core a bit more. Oop. Actually, I could just include a second GPU Z, which is pretty much the same thing as including the classified controller utility. So we're ahead on CPU score already, up against a 99 or 8700K. No surprise there. Okay, let's loop CTs for a bit. Did I close my Turbo V? No, I didn't. $5G. $1660 sounds high for 970s. That's tough. So my last 7900X, which wasn't great, I think did almost like 5.2 for Time Spy. Let's see. So we just did a 13 point something K. This is a nice CPU test, I have to say. Miller. So it's a 14.9 now actually, and previously we're doing 13.7. So that's cool. I shouldn't have closed Turbo V though, it'll probably never reopen now. What is that? Okay, let's do a full run. Hopefully my clocks are up. Are they? Abort. While that's running, I'm just going to take a quick break. Be back in a minute. What did I miss? 16 FPS is pretty pathetic, isn't it? Time, money, and know-how, yeah. Mostly time. Time and money. Money to buy enough cards to bin through and all that. $3870X. X2. No. That's a hard card to bench. I have one that I bought from Ramiro, Popa. But it's modded, I think, for core and memory. But that old stuff is really hard to bench. I like Time Spy as a bench, but I don't particularly like running benching on Windows 10 because it's so hard to strip. And just, I don't like the usability of it versus XP or 7. Single card or 2 card? Because if it's 2 card, you're gonna run out of phases pretty soon. Do you have 4 SSs? Oh, that's that CPU test is lower. It didn't hit 100. Wow. That's only 5 points better. The GPU test must have dropped or something. Okay. Let's go 1 RAM strap higher. Good luck with that. That's quite a time investment there, trying to run 5 different phase units. Come on, bias. I lied. 2 straps. Yeah. D5, 62, and post. $290x lightning. On cold? I don't have any airflow on my RAM, so I don't want to push too much, but I might give it a little bit more. Miller modded, nice. I have a couple that I have full cover water blocks for, and I want to run them crossfire on this rig. Maybe even tomorrow. We'll see. I think my maximum might need to be tweaked a bit. Oh, it's looking like it's gonna boot normally now. Okay. First things first. Open Turbo V and keep it open. Let's see if I can manage that. Yeah, but you have an 18 core, so no offense, but that's not a it's not a fair fight. I suppose we could make the rules that you're allowed ambient and I'm allowed LN2 on the CPU. I mean, that's still for really CPU heavy stuff like Vantage, that would still be crap, but for maybe 3 Mark 11 and stuff, it might be okay. Yeah, that's not great. I don't have a 6 core. This is a 10 core. 6 core on X299 is quite rare, actually. Might be even a collector's item at this point. We'll see. The new release, I'm guessing the 10900X. Does it have a really crap IMC or something, or why don't you like it? 5700 is still decent. Let's see if we're actually stable at this voltage. Who knows? Bad chips are 54, 5500. I had an 8 core that did like almost 6G in Cinebench. That was good. Yeah, 596 is golden. Maybe 6.1 in GPU Pi. Those are the really good chips. 5758 is, I mean, for multi-core, 5758 is probably already above average. I reckon 56 or thereabouts might be sort of the average. Okay, that seems to be doing all right. Let's try. Was that showing the temperature on my OC panel? It's a bit of a reflection there, so maybe it's not really showing up on stream that well. Let's try 5.1. Keep Turbo V open. Okay. Ooh. Reboot. Now, was that memory or core related? Hey, Rig. Would be nice if you started up. So what did your 9900K do on LN2? I might have to let it run through the disk checking. Usually quite fast. 6.5, 6.7. Okay, that seems about average. Maybe a little bit above average. I just want to get the second place in Time Spy. It's obviously not very far away. The RAM should give a good boost in physics, maybe in GTs a bit as well. Maybe I just need to stick with 5G. I think 5.1 is usually a big push. So what do you think of 3rd gen Ryzen on cold? Is it as bad as I always say it is? hang. Yeah, I need to tune down my my maximum a bit. Minus 165 sounds like hell. 3950x at minus 75. Were you pushing I was gonna say system agent and IO voltages, but that's not really how that works. SOC voltage, that's what it's called on AMD. Where you're pushing SoC voltage, like up to 1.4, 1.5, 1.6 to lower the DD. At least on the chips I tried at Country Cup, VDDG didn't do that much. Some chips even need 1.6, I think. Yeah, I just don't feel like binning chips for cold bug, you know. I really hope that 7 nanometer plus ends up just being full pot again. Everyone keeps saying too that the reason there's a cold bug is the IO die, which is on 14 nanometer. So if they decide for Zen 3 to go to a 12 nanometer IO die, that might make all the difference. Have you played with the really high memory like Geekbench 3, you know, A2 memory, whatever, 4600 plus, C14? Okay, that applied. Oh, yeah, 00. That seems a bit weird. I hope you were able to diffuse the situation. $46.66. I don't actually have A2 memory. I have I have 4 kits of A0, but the Flare X's I just use for quad channel. They're not that great dual channel. And then I have 2 dual channel kits. I have some Tridents, the black and red Tridents, and I have a kit of Galax OC Lab, the white ones. I won them in a raffle that Mad, the guy who works for Galax, did on Facebook randomly at one point. Not sure how good they are though. Okay, that's looking strong. Might just do a full run with that. Were they not good, or any particular reason you sold them? And what memory do you use now? Okay, almost 15k. I am tempted to just go one multiplier up. Yeah, it really doesn't like 5-1, does it? Oh, Encore. That's the next thing. Okay, 3.2 should be possible. No need for A0 anymore. Oh, that's a controversial statement. I know some people have shown sort of proof of concepts of A2 for 32M. I kind of know what you're saying. I think that X265 at this point is probably better on A2s. Geekbenches. I don't know, but something I know, memory isn't that relevant for other benches, but I reckon something like Cinebench still does better on A0s. Maybe. I'm trying to think. No. Might have to settle for 3.1 Encore. Okay. That profile is obviously borked. Yeah, it's an interesting question. I like. I think the really good A0 at like 4133 or 4166, 12, 11, 11 should still do better than A2 for 3200M, 32M. What? What are you doing, Boyd? Okay, time for, if 31x doesn't pass, it's time for a full run. Okay, it is time for a full run. I've been looking forward for to DDR5 for a while. I think that'll be interesting. Hopefully, Micron can get in on the game, because it's been a Samsung monopoly for so long. And DDR4 has been a long generation, hasn't it? Because um, Haswell E came out in 2013 or something. That's crazy. DDR2 was the shortest generation. I think that was that like 5 years or something. Okay, I need to stop using profiles. They're obviously not being saved correctly. Yeah, but DDR4 is now going to be, um, 8 or 9 years. Yeah, they haven't published that yet, so the initial speeds were going to be like 5400 and 6400 or something. But no idea of timings. It is a different architecture as well, though, I think, because it allows simultaneous read and write, which will be a big change. I don't know. I think for the really low latency stuff, we might still see something reasonable like C14 or C16. Obviously, the cheap stuff will be into the 20s for sure. C20, C22, 24, something stupid like that. Yeah, 8400. Yeah, so it was 5400 and 8400, or was it 6400 and 8400? Okay, I'm not gonna use a profile. Oh, I closed Turbo V. Not that I need it. Let's do a quick run without the GPU clocks applied. Just make sure everything's good. Hello, 3D Mark. What's wrong? I think launching it first might be the secret. Is that a hang? No. Okay. I've seen enough. I want that second place for Time Spy. Ooh, what's on the front page? I was like seeing an 03 score on the front page. Only second though, but it's on Chiller. So 1463 versus pretty much the same. Okay, that's not as exciting as I thought it would be. What about the 3870 on here? Is that a first place? No. Chiller score. Okay. Back to the bench. Okay, let's look at this result in detail. So an 18.36 GT1. That's a hang. Okay, let's give it slightly more. Because obviously with more CPU power, with more memory power, you're putting slightly more stress on the GPU. Such a shame I can't get the memory up. Because I'm obviously beating him on core, but then he's beating me on memory by 90 megahertz. Come on, system info. So we're aiming for an 18.36 average, or slightly below, because our CPU test is going to be 4K up on this guy, roughly. This is one of those tests that'll be 16.5 for the entirety of the test, and at the end it just goes up to 20. That's my prediction, at least. Gotta grab some lunch after this. It's 1 p.m. and I had breakfast at 9 or something. It's an unacceptable situation. How's everyone keeping busy on the long weekend? You having any virtual Easter celebrations? Okay, that's a pass at least. If I don't beat this score now, I can maybe up the core a bit. But Afrom is quite a bit ahead. 25 points for first, it's not bad. Watching good streams, You're such a suck up. You know, the baking. Actually, flour is sold out in this country, which is really annoying. So what's the GT2? We were aiming for 15.7 GT2, which is looking pretty likely at the moment. What are you baking? Are you baking Easter cake or just generic baking? Yeah, self-isolating before you were cool. Dutch oven bread. Never heard of that. All right, one more test. I could BCLK up a little bit as well. 105 FPS start is nice. 3110 is the target. Come on. That's a terrible score. Strong CPU. It's worse than the last one. Oh, the GT2 dipped for some reason. Okay. Guess it just requires a rerun of some description. Weird that slight dip in GT2 actually made this result worse than my 4.5 gigahertz result. The CPU test must not be weighed very high on TimeSpy. Damper, I've never heard of damper either. So apparently this is damper. If it's ever gonna load. 10-minute prep, 30-minute cook. That's good. You won't get the sound here, but I think you get the idea just from the visuals. This has turned into a cooking stream, guys. looks easy. Okay, well, you learn something new every day. Watching cooking and benching at the same time. Yeah, nice multitasking. Dutch oven. Okay, well, next one is going to be Dutch oven bread. Ooh, there's also a video for that. Seems a bit more involved. Yeah, this is more involved. Gotta wait for it to rise or whatever the technical term is. Yes, let's skip a bit. I just want to see the end result, really. Bake for 45 minutes. Oh, so you bake it in this pot. Okay, I get it. I get it. And then it's just bread. Okay, it's basically just bread baked in a different way. Okay, we had a 105. So our CPU test looks good. Come on, surely this time. Okay, at least it's not a terrible result. But we're still down on... Yeah, GT2 is just down in the dumps. Both graphics tests, actually. Yeah, this is a pain. Oh, is it maybe perf capping? If I do the render test, 75% TDP. Yeah. Now we're getting into the baking discussions. I might have to do a run in windowed mode. That's a shame that I'm hitting TDP limits. Or close to it, at least. I mean, this is the so-called LN2 bias. I don't know if the previous owner of this card reflashed the LN2 bias position or something, because plus 10 power limit is really weak. Okay, no surprise that 1593 didn't run. Let's go 1.5. It won't read above 1.465 anyway. Okay, the next option obviously is to slowly wind back the clock. Baking and benching. I might have to title my next stream that, baking and benching. GF 100. This might be the wrong driver. Maybe I need to match drivers with this guy. Like go back to 391.35. But memory obviously is a huge issue. Now, let's try something. Let's try going to like 2100 RAM and see. Yeah, it's really not happy, is it? Barbecue meat on an FX series. Okay, I think I'm going to end the stream with just one successful run of superposition. Oh god. How long is this thing? Okay. Ooh, what kind of board is that? Is it one of the old style gigabytes? Yeah, it's Venom 2. No, it's actually sizzling. Nice. Meat sink. This is funny. I forgot to set the voltage. Oh, even seasoning on there. That's nice. Does he eat it in the end? Oh, my board is throwing a 0-0. That's interesting. Oh, no, hold on. Let's pause this and see what chip it is. Come on, lift it up.